What's up, everybody? Uh, Welcome to a little mini course on drums, basic freestyle drums, and what you could do to improve the life and energy of your drums. We get often asked from producers and up-and-coming producers and DJs about our percussion, and we thought we'd give a class just to explain a little better our process and approach to doing drums, and why you should always try to experiment and always take your drums to the next level for the enjoyment of the listener and for your production. What we got here is a basic freestyle track: kick, snare, hi-hat. A lot of guys, they get a drum machine, they just come in and they just do a basic drums. My brother and I, we have a lot of percussion drum machines and stuff that we use, and what we do is we make a lot of our stuff on the drum machines, and then we export the stems or the parts. As you can see over here, it's one of the things we did. But right here, what I did for the sake of explaining it to you guys better and easier, I used battery, and we just picked a regular kick, a snare, and hi-hat. This is battery right here. So this is Native Instruments. It's a VST. Very good for riding on the road. But my brother and I do a lot of riding on the road. And when we come back to the studio, we transfer what we do, and the ideas, we do it on the drum machines, and then we bring it back. Now, before anyone says, yeah, well, you're using drum machines and it's going to be a different feel, but I'm going to show you the stuff that we do on the drum machines. I'm going to do it on the VST, on the VSTs, and on the DAW, which is the digital audio workstation, so you can understand what we do on the analog drum machines. You can also do in the DAW. So this is your standard drum machine on a VST. Different kicks, snares, hi-hats, toms. So when someone usually starts, they just come out with a kick, snare, hi-hat. Definitely got to try to push it and do certain things that a real drummer does in order to, to inject it with life and motion and feeling. So I'm going to loop this 2 bars so you guys can see this, how a basic freestyle track sounds like, and I'm going to show you the MIDI. Kick, straight 16ths is what usually everybody starts with. I want to point out, you see the velocity is the same. So basically what the main error a lot of guys do is that they play the kick at the same velocity. A real drummer would not do that, because there's no way he can perfectly hit the kick drum at the same intensity every time. So I'm going to show how you change that. This is the snare. Same thing. No velocity changes, straight snare, no reverb, nothing. And then you got your hi-hat. This is the hi-hat. This is the open hat we picked. Same thing. No velocity change. No drummer will ever hit the hi-hat exactly at the same intensity every single time. I can point out to you right now, a lot of guys do straight 16ths, but you can't do an open hat and then the hi-hat and the kicks and the snare when you're drumming. So when you have an open hat, you got to release the closed hat. See, we have this closed hat. We played the open hat, and you need to, you can't put the closed hat at the same time as the open hat. That's real basic drumming. So I'm going to play 8 bars so you can see what it sounds like. Sorry my brother wasn't here, but it's hard for us to both get in the studio, and we've been trying to do this class or this little demonstration for you guys, both of us being here, but we got real jobs, and this is just what we call a serious hobby. All right, so here we go. So that's a basic 8-bar pattern, standard in every freestyle record, whatever melody you want to play with the drums or rhythm. And I'm going to show you now how we approach our drums and why our drums, well, we like to inject that life, that variation, that motion, that feeling into it that makes a big difference. I picked the same sounds and I just did certain things. I'm gonna show you what we do, and you're gonna see the total different, same pattern actually, but it's gonna sound totally different because of the little things that we did to it to give it that flavor. So, I'm gonna move this over. Make sure that it's. So the first thing, this is the kick pattern. This is the kick, the same pattern. What we do sometimes, we layer a lower toned kick with a little more 50, 60 hertz range. Has a little more boom. That's I believe that's an 808. It might be a 909. Let's see. Yeah, I think this whole kit is a 909 kit. So yeah, they're all 909s. There's no 808s in this kit. Battery is definitely a good VST if you guys are starting to experiment with percussion. It has a lot of stuff for you guys. It's detailed 909 kit. We just pulled up any kit and we just said, let's just do something basic. So you can see over here, we have variation in the velocity, like a real drummer. Doesn't hit at the same time every time with his foot. He's a little soft, a little harder. He wants to accent certain places. That creates motion. That creates variation. Layering this kick underneath this note, what we call them kicks, but they're really notes, will add that little movement because now you got a heavier foot, what we call a kick, playing at the same time as another one layered. It's a layered kick, but now it's going to create that motion. So another thing we also do is a live drummer doesn't hit exactly on the 16ths. There's always a swing. There's always variation in timing. So if you zoom in, let me bring up the MIDI editor. You see these numbers right here. So this is 911.0. You see this note right here? It's 0.5. You see this one right here? 0.7, 0.5, 0.5. Those are 5 ticks off of the quantized 16th note. So that's going to give you variation like a real drummer. He's not going to hit it perfectly. No one is perfect. They're going to always have a little subtle timing change. That's what creates a swing. That's how you create that movement, that natural feel. And it's going to be more organic. It's going to give life. It's definitely going to take your drums to the next level if you go in and you meticulously address all these little issues. My brother and I have a philosophy. If we have 16 tracks of drums and it's 80%, but we go back and we change every single track and we improve it by 0.5%. 0.5%. This right here is 0.5%. We took the kick, we gave it more life, we made it a little more motion. That's 0.5. So if you have 10 tracks and you improved each track by 0.5%, now you just increased your track by 5 to 10%. So now you went from an 80 to a 90. So now you're improving your track with little things, just minor touches that are going to make a big difference down the way. So this is what we do to the kick. Velocities, see the velocity over here? The timing, and the undertone. I'm gonna play this. See how it sounds a little different? Let me loop that so you guys can hear that. This is the exact same drum pattern as what you heard previously. It has a little more motion now. It has a little more feeling. The swing is definitely there now. The velocity gives it life. The two kicks give a little more variation in the sound. So now this is the same thing with the snare. So this is the basic snare. So on the other track, we only had one snare, which was this one. What we do is we add variety, we add variation. Same thing. He's not going to hit that snare exactly the same time every time. That stick is going to hit that snare drum different every time. This is why they give you so many variations of the same kick. It's not because it's a different sample. It's just at a different velocity, a little different touch. Maybe it's just a little harder, more. Just so many variations that a drummer, when he hits a snare, could just add a little different feeling. Same thing with the velocities here. Very subtle. See, it goes up a little bit, goes down, and then this snare right here is lower. It's gonna add that little flavor. Now, this is not a ghost snare. I'll show you later what a ghost snare is. So what we do also is we layer these snares. We layer them with another snare. Sometimes we do compression. What we did here is we added a hard compressor on the second snare. So it's what we call parallel processing. Parallel processing is the same snare coming on a different channel. On that channel, you have some processing that's going to give it a little more bite. It's going to help it cut through the mix. This snare is the same snare as I played, but you see there's a little more compression on the transients of the snare. Transients are the beginning, the click. Let's say the beginning click of the snare. So you're going to hear it's a little tighter. It's a little more compressed. It's going to cut through. It's going to help the other one come in because we're going to bring it in at a different level just to help the natural snare, the first one, come in and give it a little more presence and cut through the mix better. So now you see these little boomlets right here. This is what ghost snares are. They're just ghost snares or ghost kicks. They're just little accents, very low. You see how low they are? They're blue. So I mean, the velocity compared to these are real subtle, but you still hear that stuff in the mix. It gives a little more feeling to the pattern. And when you hear these two together, I'm gonna solo these two so you can hear. Now, velocity changes, also the timing changes. Let's bring up the list editor. See, we advanced some, we delayed some. So this is hitting before, these are the ghost snares, but it's not like a drummer is not gonna hit on that 16th note like clockwork. He's always gonna have a little variation. That's why when you hear the rock bands, they just sound a little more lively, and more motion, more meaning, more feeling, because it's in human nature to not be perfect. Now, we're gonna skip this snare roll because the snare roll is just basically just a snare roll. This is the 8th bar. I added the snare roll. If you want to hear what that sounds like. Same thing. These are put on the swing. They're not perfect on the 16th, and the velocity changes. That adds that little extra sauce on there. So now we got the hats. So now, if you notice, I'm I'm gonna erase this just so you don't get confused. This one. These I muted, and we do this for every single track. Now this is a regular. This is hi-hats on a swing. You got your open hat. You got your closed. But it's not straight 16ths. You see the velocity changes, and then we have the timing changes. That gives that natural feel. That drummer, that funky drummer, is giving that feeling like, yeah, this has, you know, life. You don't want static drums. Static drums are a no-no. They very basic, and they just won't cut through. It's just gonna be a bad for your beat. So now we start getting into the complicated stuff we do. We add little stuff like, these are the toms. They're really low on the mix, but they add motion. They add that. Now, you can hardly hear them. You're going to hardly hear them in the mix, but they're very subtle. They add that feeling, that flavor that we're always looking for when we do these drums. And if you notice, when you hear it, there's no loops here. This is just straight up drum machine. This is what we do on the drum machines, and we transfer it over. So that's the toms. Now we got a clap. So what do we do to the clap? Clap is a standard clap, but I'm going to zoom in. You don't throw the clap exactly on the snare. The timing of this thing, it's right before the snare hits, and the snare is probably going right here, so it's just going to create that little extra push. It's going to help the transients stand out more of the snare. It's just a clap. Just a clap. Got a crash. So, what else do we have here? Okay, so we do this on the drum machines. This is a wave. These are what we call our accents or our movement snares. They're there to add motion. They're not there to be dominant. They're just there to add that flavor. Whoa, almost gave away the whole package in caboodles. Now, this is just to add atmosphere. We call them the snare atmospheres. Get a regular, this is Eventide black holes, a reverb. We start messing with whatever sounds good. You got to create your own sound, your own flavor, your own style. And we put this directly on the snare. We don't bust it. Usually on the main snares, we bust the effects. But on the effects and atmospheres that we actually want on the direct sample or the stems, we actually put it as an insert. So it's actually getting affected on the actual stem. If we were doing effects, we would have put it over here, like the snare over here. Has the effect. So we're sending it to a bus. That bus has an effect on it, and it's feeding the signal into the effect bus. This is our compressor right here that we use on. This is a bus compressor, but we use it on our snares. Just to add that little, to get that, help that transient cut through, help the snare just become a little more lively and go through the mix. Another thing, you guys would be surprised. Almost gave it away again. This is static. My brother and I put static. It's just static from a record. Like little, we recorded a record and we just add that little flavor. Like if we were sampling from a record. So it adds that those little things are what gives life to the beat. They take it to the next level. And this is nothing that you guys probably can't find on the internet, but we kind of just condensed everything together and gave it to you guys specifically for the freestyle genre and the producers. So when you put it all together, the crash is the reverse clap, the stick. I'm gonna loop 16 bars. The first 8 are the regular. And then you got the TST version of the same drums. I'm gonna wait for the train to pass. Unfortunately, our spot, we love it, but every once in a while we have to, when we're recording, we have to actually take what we call a train break, because we actually are so close to the Long Island Railroad. Our mics are so sensitive that they pick everything up. But here we go. First 8 are the stale, static drums that the average beginner will do. And then you got the advanced, semi-advanced stuff. Here we go. TST. Stale bread. I'm gonna take off the stick, and that's it. I just took off the stick so you can hear more of the. So that is your first class. We're thinking about giving a master class. If you guys are interested, hit us up, and you'll learn a whole bunch of tricks that we do, and you can inject some life and some movement into your drums with these basic things we just gave away. Eventually, let me save this. Then I'm gonna bring this up. This is what years and years of just toying around with drums and just pushing yourself to different ideas, experimentations, you get on this kind of level of drums. So this is something we're working on. My brother and I have tons of tracks like this. We work on the drums first. Sometimes we work on the keyboards and the synths and stuff, but this is what you want to aspire to take your drums to a level that it just creates that life. The basis of any dope freestyle track, if you like them all, if you know what you like, it's always going to be that drums. That's what's that starting power. So this is what you want to aspire to, you want to get to. My brother and I have put in, I want to say about since we were 14 with our first drum machine, the Casio, and we've gotten to this place where we feel comfortable and happy with our drums. This is 13 tracks. It's not no 3, but that's the extra sauce you want to put in your tracks. take you somewhere. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys learned something. If you guys are interested, we will probably be down to do a masterclass for you guys. Let us know. Hit me up or hit my brother up and direct message, private message. And if we get enough guys interested, we'll give an actual masterclass. Who knows? We might have our good friend Carlos Barrios come in and do a Q&A also. You can get his perspective on drums, and you never know who else might be popping into the session. So hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something. Stay safe. Get your vaccines, and forget the drama. It's all about the music. My brother and I are advocates. It's all about the music. Enjoy.